and a 3D-capable HD converter connected via HDMI cable. Switch into 3D mode now using your 3D TV remote. Select the over-under orientation. If you're seeing two identical images one on top of the other, then your TV is not in 3D mode. If you see one image with no depth, then your glasses are not powered on. If you see one image in depth, your TV is properly set up for 3D viewing.
Together with all creatures great and small, we have inherited the miracle that is life on Earth. But what is the future of our planet? Pollution, deforestation, global warming, the melting of the polar ice caps? Will these forces that we have set in motion prevail? Or can we turn back the clock before it is too late? Hello, I'm Walter Cronkite. At the dawn of the 21st century, our planet lies at the threshold of environmental disaster. We urgently need to understand and to confront a number of crucial environmental issues, which, if left unchecked, will greatly affect the future of the world as we know it, and perhaps the survival of the human race. The environmental crisis gets only cursory attention from the most ubiquitous of our mass media, television. The time restraints of its most important news broadcasts limit its focus on this issue, which can spell life and death for many species, including human beings themselves. Creating a global awareness of the important issues concerning the well-being of our planet would seem a simple matter. For over the last decade, we have witnessed a revolution in information technology. With the mushrooming of satellite television channels and the spread of the internet, it is now easier than ever before to access information on a broad range of topics. This trend, however, also has led to a greater fragmentation of the delivery of information, making it even more challenging for nature conservation organizations to spread their message about urgent but often complex environmental issues. To raise public awareness, it's become necessary for committed organizations to think outside of the box. Recently, the World Wild Fund for Nature, the largest and most experienced independent conservation organization on the planet, has taken a bold and pioneering step. the Netherlands, WWF decided to take its case directly to the people by creating an innovative theme park attraction to spread its message about nature conservation. The action takes place in the underground complex of the United Nations of Animals headquarters in the Borneo rainforest.
I have a dream that one day we shall all unite to keep our planet.
WWF Netherlands had a dream too of packaging its vital message about the greenhouse effect, the destruction of the marine habitats, and the deforestation of the tropical rainforest in an entertaining giant screen experience. To realize this dream, WWF would not only need imagination, but a real-world location, as well as a willing and able partner to help design and build their uniquely purposed theater. As it turned out, their quest proved simpler than anticipated. Nestled in the middle of a lush forest in southern Netherlands lies Efteling Park, one of the very few theme parks in the world owned and operated by a non-profit organization. Nonetheless, it was a challenge to create an attraction that would be entertaining while fulfilling the World Wildlife Fund's mission to raise awareness about the environmental issues threatening our planet. Once again, WWF was willing to think out of the box. Instead of producing a traditional wildlife film, they created a completely computer-generated world. From the moment they approach the attraction and arrive at the pre-show area, audiences come face to face with some of the most majestic animals. They are known as the Big Five: the buffalo, the lion, the elephant, the leopard, and the rhino. It is for them and all the animals around the world whose natural habitats are being threatened by the most successful species on the planet that this attraction was ultimately created. Monitoring the Earth from the Situation Room of the UNA headquarters in Borneo is one ever-alert and watchful panda. The key to creating an attraction that would be entertaining while raising the audience's awareness of nature conservation began with the selection and treatment of the topic itself. Three environmental issues to be highlighted had to fulfill certain key criteria. Each had to represent a universally known global problem. Each problem had to be one that required immediate action while lending itself to a visually dynamic scenario. With those requirements in mind, 3 computer-animated sequences were conceived to dramatically capture the greenhouse effect, the destruction of ocean habitats, and the disappearance of the tropical rainforests. Alarmed by the deteriorating situation in three critical ecosystems, the poles, the coral reef, and the rainforest, the panda leads audiences into the main auditorium for a special bird's eye view of what is happening right now around our fragile planet. The first environmental problem the audience confronts is the greenhouse effect and the potentially disastrous consequences known as global warming. But before immersing ourselves in the experience, let us take a moment to get a clearer understanding of why this phenomenon is so important to the future of our planet. The greenhouse effect is the most talked about environmental issue in recent history. However, the media has focused almost exclusively on the political controversy surrounding the issue. Little emphasis is placed on examining just how global warming could present a real and present danger to our planet's future. It appears that in this new age of soundbite journalism, the ratings-hungry mass media continues to favor the drama of political confrontation over a deeper exploration of the underlying issues. The term greenhouse effect conjures up dire images of the future of our planet, but without it, the Earth would be a frigid ball, not unlike our closest neighbor, Mars. The average temperatures on Mars stay well below zero at all times. As the sun's energy strikes the Earth, part of it is reflected back into space. The rest is absorbed by the Earth's surface, generating heat in the form of infrared energy. Without our atmosphere, most of this heat energy would be lost. The result would be a new ice age. It is the greenhouse effect that protects us from this climatic catastrophe. Too much greenhouse effect, on the other hand, would turn our planet into another Venus with its thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide and average surface temperatures of plus 500 degrees Celsius. While global warming is still the topic of much debate, it is known that the amount of carbon dioxide in the air caused by the excessive discharge from automobile exhaust and other sources has grown 30% in the last century. The need to reverse this trend is a widely accepted fact. Tackling such a complex problem in a few minutes of a theme park attraction would be mission impossible, for our world is a delicate balancing act of complex, interconnected ecosystems. By immersing the audience in a dramatic 3D experience, the WWF hoped to trigger the public's desire to find out more about the underlying issues. Thus, it hoped to raise the collective awareness of the danger looming on the horizon. Harboring a bewildering array of life forms, the seas have long seemed endless and infinitely bountiful. But overfishing and habitat destruction are taking their toll. Marine depletions are causing ecological upheaval as well as human conflict and impoverishment. Unfortunately, the media gives this tragedy scant attention. The depletion of the oceans and the destruction of marine habitats rarely make the evening news. The only major events affecting our oceans that draw full media coverage are offshore oil spills or chemical disasters in the waterways that feed our vast seas. While the ecological impact of such events on the areas where they occur is terrible and newsworthy, it is far less threatening to life in our oceans than the daily occurrence of overfishing. Oil and chemical spills, it is true, can often be captured as visual and in-your-face, real-life drama. Technological advances such as sonar, radar, satellite-assisted fish finding, and huge factory ships with nets large enough to envelop a football field have changed the fundamentals of fishing and resulted in dwindling fish populations worldwide. Atlantic salmon, Newfoundland and New England cod, halibut, haddock, and flounder have been driven to commercial extinction. Their numbers are so low that it is no longer profitable to fish for these species in large parts of their range. Migratory giants such as tunas, swordfish, marlin, and sharks are facing a similar fate. Breeding populations of Atlantic swordfish are only 20% of what they were 15 years ago. 90% of swordfish are caught before they reach breeding age. In the 20th century, ocean fish catches increased 25-fold. But instead of respecting this natural resource, we have spent its vast biological capital recklessly rather than carefully managing it for future generations. The future of the seas and the millions of life forms they contain is uncertain. Hours of television airtime would still be inadequate to exhaustively cover the challenges facing our oceans today, let alone within a 3-minute segment of an attraction film. But through total immersion in a deeply moving experience, WWF believed a theme park attraction would succeed in impressing upon a mass audience that something must be done if we are to preserve the balance of life in the sea. Tropical deforestation is another major environmental issue receiving very little media coverage. The reason is simple. The problem is not in our backyard. There are no rainforests in any of the top 10 most industrialized countries of the world. The clearing of Earth's forest has been happening for many centuries. This process, known as deforestation, involves the cutting down and burning of trees on such a massive scale that whole ecosystems are left in ruins. The loss of the tropical rainforest is far more profound than the destruction of a few of our planet's natural wonders. If the current rate of deforestation continues, the world's rainforests will vanish within 50 years, causing unknown effects on the Earth's climate and eliminating the majority of plant and animal species on the planet. In the final sequence, WWF wanted to pull out all the stops to bring the experience home and leave the audience with a simple message that even our own habitat could be in danger unless we start taking better care of our planet. Global warming, the depletion of the ocean, and the destruction of the rainforest are unquestionably three of the most important environmental issues of our time, which, if left unchecked, could have catastrophic consequences for our entire planet. However, we are by no means suggesting that the solution is to leave our cars in our garages, stop eating fish, and halt timber trade. Instead, we should support environmentally appropriate, socially beneficial, and economically viable management of the world's forests and oceans, while striving to use more and more green energy, energy generated by wind, water, and the sun. Immediate steps can be taken to drastically reduce the threat. While most of these steps will require intervention by national and international governing bodies, there also are concrete actions each of us can take. As individuals, the actions we take in our daily lives have greater environmental repercussions than we might imagine. Unless each of us starts acting responsibly toward our own surroundings, our own neighborhoods and communities, our own backyard, how can we expect society as a whole will take the necessary steps to ensure the survival of our planet? The challenge is not of turning lead into gold, but of using current technology to serve not just our own needs, but the needs of our planet as a whole. It's up to us to use our natural resources wisely and to find a way to turn the legacy of our industrial revolution into the raw materials of a better world. We must face the monumental challenge of finding new ways to power our lives without destroying our environment. Ultimately, the well-being of our planet is a reflection of what we do now as individuals. But unless we act in concert at the dawn of this century, who knows what we will find at its close. We should consider all the possibilities, all the technologies human ingenuity can envision, for someday these advances may help change the course of our planet's present future. Who will ensure the health and well-being of the living network of habitats that encircle our planet and of all the creatures who depend on it for their survival? Ultimately, it is up to us to make the world a better place to live.
We may blame our political leaders and the mass media for not playing their part in protecting the environment, but we first should ask ourselves what part we have played. We as individuals have the power to change the world. If we can raise our voices together to influence the political process, our government and the mass media will be forced to pay attention. This is the hope of the many groups and individuals working around the world dedicated to a simple dream that for the animals and for our children and for generations to come, we can save our planet.